Hello Laravel friends, Laravel would be nothing without all that code that you all provided during the last 10 years. So thank you all for that. And you did this all through pull requests. So today I want to show you what it's like creating a pull request through the Laravel framework, and we will make a new one together, and I really hope it gets merged. I don't know it yet, I promise. On the way we will also talk about what you can do to get better chances that your code, your PR gets merged. Every new pull request starts with an idea, and I had this idea while I was working on a different pull request some weeks ago. So this is the pull request. Let me show you what it does. When you say PHP artisan make mail, this creates a mailable and you get asked about name if you don't provide any arguments here. And what I added is this second part here where you also get asked if you want to create a view. You could already do this with flags, but I think it's nice to do this here as well. And something similar I noticed for another make command. There is also this make notification command where you can create a new notification and you get asked about the name. And if I hit enter, you can see a new invoice paid notification was created. But when we take a look at the arguments, you can see that we also have another one here, which is called Markdown. So what you can do here is you can provide as a flag the name of a Markdown view that you can create, which you can then use if you want to send your notification via an email. And I thought, hey, why not add this to the prompts as well? So the first thing I did then was going to Laravel pull request and took a look at the closed ones. And I want to check where in the title we have notification. And you can see we have here a bunch of them. And let's also add is unmerged. Yeah, so these were the closed ones. And here you can take a look at similar pull requests, and maybe there's one similar to the one that we already tried. And yeah, let's go through it together. There are a bunch of them. Let's try it with notification make. Yeah, so it doesn't look there is anything similar to what we want to do here. So I think it's a good idea that we move on with our pull request. So the next step here for me would be to play around with this idea and see if I can find the code that I need to change in order to make this work. And since I already did something similar, I know already the file that I'll look for. So last time I was working with the mail make command. So this is responsible for creating a new mailable. And the main thing that I added here was at the bottom. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, it's this method here after prompting for missing arguments. So this is what's happening if you write artisan make and then create something new without any arguments. And here I added this new question, would you like to create a new view? So I think it's a good idea to copy this here. Let's copy this method. And let's take a look now for the notification make command. Yeah, this is another one. This is the one that we were talking about. So let's see if we can easily try to change this, and maybe let's keep it like this and see if this already works. So PHP artisan make notification. So again, we get asked about the name. So let's say invoice not paid. And you can see, yeah, we already get here this second question here, would you like to create a view? Of course, this is not what we want, but this was just for testing. And this tells me already this works very much the same as my last PR worked. So this means I think we can move on and now really fork the framework and see how we can implement this. On the Laravel framework page, let's fork this here. Yes, copy the 11.x branch. That's the one where we need to provide our changes to, or where we want to provide our changes to. And here we are. Here we have the latest framework with all the changes that we need. And now we can clone this. Let's copy the URL. So I'm here in my framework version, the forked one here, which is important. And I have here this forks directory on my machine. And now we can clone here this repo. And let's open up this project in PHP Storm. And you can see we are already here in this 11.x branch. And again, 11.x is the current maintained branch. If you want to create new features and add them, you should add them to this branch. All right, so this looks good. We also have to composer install everything which is needed. Since I already know what we have to do because I did a similar PR already some weeks ago, I would like to start at the test side of things. Write a failing test, make sure what we want to see as a result, and then try to implement it going the TDD way. And for all the make commands, there is also a test, notification make command test here. This one, let's take a look at the test that we have in here. Test, it can generate notification file with Markdown option, and notification file with test. So there's something already about the Markdown option, but this is where we're providing this here as an option directly when we call make notification. So this is different than what we want to do. So maybe let's just run all the tests to make sure everything is working. Yes, this looks good. And I think we can still start with this test here. Or maybe let's just copy this beginning here. I think that's the most important part that we need. Okay, we're going to call this test. It can generate a notification file with Markdown template with no initial input. So that's what we want to test. We are not providing any initial input, but we want to make sure that we get a notification file with a Markdown template. All right, so this means we can also get rid here of the arguments. We are calling here make notification. Let's also close this method here. And now we're going to expect a question. So what should the question be like? What should the notification be named? That's the first question here. And let's reply with, what do we want to go here with? Let's say with an export finished notification. All right, what's the next thing that we want to see? We want to see another question. Would you like to create a Markdown view? Here we're going to apply with yes, which is true in this case. We're going to use a confirm prompt here for this. And then if the user says yes, we expect another question. What should the Markdown view be named? Whenever I work on a PR like this, I try to take a look at the other code in the test or in the other files to make sure my code is very similar, because I already know that Taylor spends a lot of time to making everything look good and read good. So yeah, I can save him some time when I already try this exactly when I write my PR. Let's call it export finished. All right, and then we want to see exit code 0. All right. Let's run this. This will fail. Would you like to create a Markdown view was not being asked. That's exactly what we assumed to happen because we haven't implemented it yet. So let's do this now. So let's go to the notification command. All right. Here at the bottom, I'm going to paste in here already the method from my other PR. Here we're going to need to import the classes here. Let's do this. Okay, let's see. So this is the method after prompting for missing arguments. This is being called if you don't provide any arguments to a command. Then here we have a check to make sure if any options were passed, then we're going to return, because then we don't want to continue. And now we want to make sure we ask a question. So this should be a confirm in our case. And the question I have here, copied from the test, would you like to create a Markdown view? And now since this is a confirm, we don't need to provide any options here. And let's also call this once Markdown view. All right. And let's comment this out for now. Okay, so now inside our test, we should already see that this is being asked, would you like to create a Markdown view? All right, let's run our test. And we can see the question, what should the Markdown view be named, was not asked. So this means this was already working, but not our second question. So let's create another one here, and let's say if the user wants a Markdown view. So this is what we're getting returned here, true or false. And now we're going to ask another question. So the Markdown view, or the name of the view, is what we're going to get returned when we ask the question. And this is a text. And here we're providing our question. All right, let's try the test again. And you can see our test is already passing. So let's get back here and let's make sure what we already did. So we make sure when we call the make notification command without any arguments, we get asked about what should the notification be named. We get asked about would you like to create a view, and if it yes, we say what should the markdown be named. Of course, we don't have any files yet, so let's add this to our test here. First, we want to make sure that our mailable exists. That's the more easy part here. So this is going to be called export finish notification. I think this should work right away. Yes, it does. So this is already been working. And now the second thing that we want to make sure. Let's copy this one here. Assert file name exists. In this case, we want to make sure it does exist. Resources views, and then the name should be export finish. So that's what we provided here in the test as the name for our view. And this is now going to fail. Yeah, so this file does not exist yet because we haven't dealt with this yet. Okay, so this means we can go back to our command, and now let's deal with the second part here. So in my last PR, the type was being returned, so this is now different. We don't need this actually at all. So what we want to do, if we want the Markdown view, we're going to set this as an option. So there's a set option command, and here we're going to say that the Markdown option, that's what the name of this option is, we're going to set this to the Markdown view. All right, so this means then Laravel itself, the command itself, check, okay, we have set this, and then it will create this file for us. So we don't have to implement this ourselves because that's already what this command does. We're just telling it that we have now a name for this Markdown view. All right, let's run this again. And it's working. Awesome, perfect. Let's take a look now at our test. I think it's a good idea to also check now the opposite, where we're going to say that we don't want to create a new Markdown template. So tested can generate notification file with no initial input. I think that's what we want to do. Here we want to return false. Here we get rid of this. And here assert file does not exist. All right, let's try this out. Yes, this is working as well. Okay, great. I think now it's a good idea to test the code that we have already written inside a real application. And that's what I have already set up for my last PR. So this is a Laravel application. And you can see here in the composer.json file, I have inserted a repository which links to our fork repository. So this Laravel framework is being used instead, another one. So this means we can already test our new feature. PHP artisan make notification with no initial input. Let's call this export finished notification. All right. Do we want to create a Markdown? Yes, we do. And what should it be named? Export finished. All right. And you can already see here 2 files were created. So the export finished notification class, and our view file export finished. Let's maybe take a look at that as well. Let's bring this up here, resources, views, export finish, and you can see this is now a Markdown mail which Laravel already created for us. I think this already looks good, but there was one thing I think where we can do better. So let's try this again. What did I see? Yeah, so when we get asked about the name, we have this example here, invoice paid. Let's try another one. Invoice was not paid. Would you like to create a Markdown view? Yes. So here we don't have an example. I think it's a good idea that we create here an example as well. So back inside our code, let's get back to the notification command. And yeah, right here to the text function, we can also add here a placeholder text. So let's say, since the example is about invoice paid, let's also make it invoice paid. All right, let's try it out here again. We make a new notification, invoice paid. Yes, and here you can see now we also have here this placeholder text, which I believe makes it a little bit easier to see what the format of this input should be. Okay, already so much better. One last thing here. Let's run all of our tests here of this notification make command test. Let's see if they're all passing. Yes, 5 tests, 30 assertion. They are all passing, which is great. Awesome. So this means the next step is to create a commit. Let's do this. Let's make a new branch first. And let's call this notification make Markdown question. I think that's fine for now. Let's create this. And now we're going to create a commit. So that's also a good idea to take a look at our changes. So we've made some changes to the notification make command here. And if we scroll down here, that's where we added our method. After prompting for missing arguments, that's this one. And we also made changes to the tests where we added 2 more tests. All right, let's create a commit message, ask about Markdown template for notification command. All right, let's commit and push this now to our fork. Here is already a button where we can compare the changes that we did, and we can also create a pull request. So let's take a look. We have our base repository, which is the Laravel framework. The branch is 11.x. Again, this is the currently maintained branch. So mostly you want to add your changes to this active branch, but there are also some more infos on the Laravel documentation with more info about the active branches. And here we have our title. That's also what Dries and the Laravel team likes, that you already have here the branch where we want this to be added, and then a good name. Asked about Markdown template for notification command with no initial input. All right. And here we also have some information. That's what I already told you. Please only send a pull request to branches that are currently supported. You can find some info there. If you're unsure about which branch pull request should be sent, please read this. So there's also some information about that. And pull request without a descriptive title for a description or tests will be closed. So I'm glad we have all of this, I would say. And in addition, please describe the benefit to the end user, the reason this not breaks any existing features, and how makes building web applications easier. So I like to start my PRs, the description, with 1 or 2 sentences just about what this PR does. And I want to describe it as simple as possible, because I know Taylor and all the other Laravel team members who are working on this have to read a lot of pull requests, a lot of descriptions. So yeah, make it as good as possible. And what I also like to do is add a screenshot if this helps the PR. So here's the screenshot. Here I've already highlighted what's new, this part here with those 2 questions. And I also mentioned that this is PR similar to one that I already did and which was merged. All right, I think we're good to go. Should we create the pull request? I think we should now. Give it a try. 1, 2, 3. And here we go. This is the pull request. It's already out now. So I guess Dries will take a look at it soon, and Taylor will check it as well. And hopefully next week on Tuesday, we have a new release with a merged feature of us. Fingers are crossed. I hope we'll see here something getting merged soon. It seems I was celebrating a little bit too early, because soon after I submitted my PR, I saw that the tests are failing on the PR, so I had to take another look. Let me show you what we had to fix here. As you can see now, all the tests are passing here, and that's only because I changed something. But before, let me show you why this is currently a little bit red here. That's because we have a styling issue, but we don't have to care about that, because when the PR gets merged, also the style fixes will automatically be implemented. Okay, let me show you what I had to do here. So I had to push another commit. Yes, this one here. Let me show you what we did here. So what I changed here is I changed all the names of the new notifications and the file to the ones which were already used inside the test. So what I didn't know at the beginning of the test for the notification make command, we have this files property, and all those listed files here will be automatically cleaned. So the issue that we had was that I was using a different name for the notification and for the view file, which was not in this list. So I changed all the used ones to the one which were already here. I still don't really know why my tests were passing locally, but yeah, now they are also passing on the PR, which is the most important thing here. But yeah, most importantly, now the tests are passing on this PR, and now we have to wait what Dries and Taylor will think about my PR. Fingers are still crossed. Let's see. Since this video made it out to you, you might have guessed it already. Yes, my PR got merged by Taylor. Thank you, Taylor. Yes. And yeah, it always feels so good to have some of your own code in something as big as Laravel. And I really hope I could show you what this process is like and you don't have to be scared. But of course, there are some guidelines to follow. So the next time you have an idea for a pull request, please make sure nobody else has tried it before. So please search if there are some old PRs already. Keep it simple. Your chances are way higher this way. You always have to think about what it's like from the maintainer's point of view. Taylor and the Laravel team has to maintain your code basically forever. You only have to submit it once, but we have to, work with it. So yeah, Taylor thinks about this a lot. Also make sure to link related GitHub issues if there are one. Dries will be very happy about that. And also very important, don't take the decision personal. We often have to reject PRs, and again, this is part of our work. We have to say no a lot. There are many good reasons to say no, so it doesn't mean your idea is stupid or that we don't like the code. That's not the case. So I wish you all the best for your first or next PR. There is also a good chance that I cover one of your edit features in one of my next videos. And don't forget to have some fun on the way as well. Thank you. Bye.